I was just looking through a family heirloom that my friend Susan shared with me. This Bible is from her mother's family, the Bilbrey family from Byrdstown, Tennessee. Well, Susan remembers when her grandmother carried this Bible to that small church in Tennessee. Now, right in the center of it, Hattie, her grandmother, recorded when she was married to Ernest on June 8th, 1919. Oh, what a great bit of history. And then on the next page, on the children's register, she listed the birth of their 3 children, not only the birth, but then when they were married and where they were married. Oh, it's just a wonderful collection of history. Well, originally, all of the family records were kept in the family Bible. And then as the towns grew, courthouses were built as a repository for all of those family records. Well, the courthouse step quilt holds such a great place in history. It commemorates the place where valuable records were kept, as well as where laws were made to govern the land. And oh, this is just a beautiful one made out of wool, made in the 1800s, and it is in great condition. Now, as we look at it right here, oh, she used some scraps of velvet here for the center square. And look how you can see that step, that courthouse steps, just following down along, going from the light back down into another center. And what's unique about it is that the quilt maker did some embroidery stitches right in the center to hold all of those layers together. And oh, what layers there are. It's quite heavy. Then on down to another bit of scrap in the center, mostly made from wool. Oh, this is just a great and beautiful quilt representing country and democracy. What a wonderful thing. Well, let's get started. Court is in session. The versatility of the courthouse block is endless. I'm going to show you 4 variations of that one block. Now this is block 1. Right here you see a lantern's layout and just a baby quilt. Now it has 5 different fabrics in it, 1 center square, and then around that center square are 4 different fabrics. Oh, it makes up a great pattern. Love it. Now when you take that one block and you create a mirror image of that block, you get an entirely different look. If you look down the center and then off to each side, you can see the mirror image. Once again, 5 different fabrics, that center square, and then 4 fabrics around that center square. Oh, this is great in dark, rich colors. This would look great just thrown over a couch. Now the next block, block 3, uses only 4 different fabrics in it. It's the center square, and then that light is used twice. 2 lights, and then you see 2 other fabrics around it. This is just a small 8-block wall hanging. Look great on a narrow wall, and it has a cute name called Blossoms Layout. Ooh, what fun. Now mirror image of block 3, and you've got a lantern layout in a barn raising design. It reminds me of a log cabin in a way, but as you look down the center and look out to each side, you can see that mirror image again. Oh, it's just wonderful. Well, which layout will you choose? The decision is for you to make. Let me be the judge of the fabric selection. 2 values of 2 different fabrics works great in any of the layouts. So I started out with 2 different grays, 2 different values of gray, right here a small scale print, and then one that's a little bit larger, and 2 values of purple. Now this was the first one that I started with because it's large scale, multicolored, and from this piece then I picked the other ones. It's actually very antique looking because these 2 pieces are reproductions of fabric you can find in the Smithsonian Institute. Now wouldn't it be great if those fabrics were originally in a courthouse steps quilt? Now after I picked the 4 different fabrics, then I went on to select the center square, and oh, what a great time I had, because when I was in Paducah last year, I picked up a whole stack of hand-dyed purple fabrics. So I came up with this particular piece that I really like with the other 4. Now, I worked on my paste up sheet, and this is what I came up with. Right here you can see along the bottom, the center and the block goes into fabric A, which is a light, into a medium, which is fabric B, fabric C, which is a medium or a dark, and then D, which is a dark. Now when I pasted up the block, you can see right here's the center. The lightest pieces are across from each other. This will form the smaller lanterns if we choose to do the lantern layout. Then these two are opposite each other as well. This is A, this is B, this is C, this is D. Boy, I hope I can keep them straight. Well, one thing I can keep straight is the size of the strips. That's easy because they're all 2-inch wide strips. Gosh, I can do that one. I have them all layered up. I tore them from the bolt, and now all I want to do is just go ahead and take my rotary cutter and trim off that torn edge. Now, once you get that torn edge trimmed, then just go ahead, and you can use the grid with this one. This is great. Just check your ruler against the grid so you're sure that they're exactly the same. Now for a 16 block baby quilt, gosh, we don't want to make it any bigger than a baby quilt. You need to have 1 center square strip. You need to have 4 strips of A and B and 6 strips of C and D. And I've got them layered so I can just go ahead. Oh my goodness, I'm cutting more centers than I need. I want to pull that away. I would have cut up all my purple fabric. But this is all you have to do. Just layer them up with the largest number of strips needed on the bottom. And then as you go along, see, all I need to have is just 1 more strip, and I'll have all 4 cut of A and B. So I can just take this away, and then I can just continue on cutting C and D. Let me get my strips cut, and I'll get ready for sewing. If you want order in your court, this is the order for your fabric. Start first with your center square, and then put it in A, B, C, D order. A, B, C, D, and it's really important to go ahead and put some labels underneath, because once you start flying, boy, you don't want to get out of order. So I'm just going to take my center square fabric and my strip A and put them right sides together with A on the top. Now I'm using my 5-thread serger, which is just perfect for strip sewing. But what's important is that you have a consistent and accurate 1/4 inch seam allowance. Gosh, you could do this just on a regular sewing machine. No problem with that at all. Now I do have just a short strip with my center square because I use that hand-dyed fabric. So I'll just go this far with that half strip. You might want to go ahead and do a whole strip. But once you sew down the length of that strip, just take it and set that seam, and it helps if you put your strip right on the grid. Set it, and then just lift that A strip up and press it flat. Take all of the puckers and all of the tucks out of that seam right there. Oh, look at that little tuck I put right in there. Oh, that looks great. I don't want to have any bowed strips on this. Well, that was easy. That's a start. Now, all I have to do now is take a B strip. This is going to be so easy. Put it right sides together onto the C, onto the center. Line that up like this, match up those edges, and step on the gas. Oh, just speed that right through there. Now, I'm using the fabric guide on my sewing machine because it makes it so easy to keep accurate 1/4 inch seam allowance, but you can go ahead and use a magnetic seam guide. Use a piece of foam right up there to keep that all lined up. Oh gosh, only doing these half strips, it doesn't take long to go down along there, but there's really not enough for me to do a baby quilt. I'd have to do a longer strip. Okay, now you've got the B on the second side. Once again, set that seam, lining it up on the grid, and then just lift that B up and over. Oh, I love that purple with that B. Does that look good? And look at the steam. Looking good. Well, this is the whole center right now on the block. So take your strip, lay it on your grid, get that all lined up so you have some straight lines to work with. And right over here on this left end, I'm going to take my 6x12 ruler. This happens to be the most convenient size to use. Trim off that salvage edge, and then just using the grid, line it up so you can cut 2-inch segments. Oh, for a baby quilt, I need 16 of these. Now, you're going to go larger. If you're going to do a lap robe, you need to have 32, 24 for a lap robe. You need to have 32 for a twin. Oh my gosh, we're getting bigger. We need to have a double queen. How about 48 and a king, 64. How about let's just take this many? That looks good. We could just keep on cutting the whole way down, but we'll just stop here. Okay, stack them, and right now turn them so that they have the B at the top. I'm just going to turn them upside down at my serger, consistent order, B at the top. Grab up a C strip. Put it right side up on your serger, on your sewing machines. I like to just go ahead and get that anchored like this. And then, in consistent order, always the B at the top, the seam is flat now, and just butt them one after the other right behind. This reminds me so much of log cabin. Actually, Courthouse steps is a variation of the log cabin, and also pineapple is another variation of the log cabin, but it's just that good old assembly line sewing. Just pick it up, butt it on behind, step on the gas, and it works well if you do this as a team also. Well, once you've got that C added on every piece, the whole way down, then just go back to your 6x12 ruler, line that up straight. Let's see if I can get it straight. Oh, that salvage edge. Gosh, we should be able to do something with that right there. And I like to use the straight line right on my ruler and line it up right along here and cut. Now, there's not much distance. Gosh, there's hardly anything right there. We butt it so closely, but just in case, look what we could do. We could go ahead and sliver trim that whole bit off. That's not very much to worry about. But if you have more like 1/4 of an inch in between each of the pieces, you might want to go ahead and do a second cut there. Why don't I just stop with 3? I'll set this aside for later. Now, I've got C on this side. I'm going to take this C. Works best if you just keep on pressing in between each step. So drop it on your mat with C on the top, set that seam, and then just fold that up and over. Oh, look at that. I think probably that's the most exciting thing about adding the different fabrics. You know how people are sewing and they say, oh, I'm going to go to bed after just one more color. Go to bed after one more color. Before you know it, you've been up all night sewing. Sun comes up with you. Okay, now we have C on. We're just going to go right down that order. Grab a D strip. Put it right side up in your sewing machine and turn the strip so that it's in consistent order. Turn the blocks so there you can add that strip right on the next side. Let's grab that up. See, we've got that whole center already started. Oh, it's looking so good. And just butt each one of those pieces one right after the other. I'm losing it. Oh my goodness, right in the middle of all of this. I don't want to lose it. Go ahead, one more I've got, and then once again, same thing. Just lay it flat and cut it apart and set that seam. Let me get this lined up. There's just a little bit there. This gets trimmed off along this end. Go right down through here, cut it. Helps if you really use a nice flat surface, have a good space to work with. Stack them up. Set this seam. Same thing. Goodness. Set the seam and just open that. Set the seam. Open it. Oh, wow. Now we went the whole way around that center section. So now we want to start and do the next round. So let's just clear off this area and take a look. Why don't we just lay it like this? Because you can see here is A coming out here. We want to take an A strip and add that on this side. We want to take a B strip right here and add it on this side. As it's growing and you can see how it's all coming together, Okay, the A strip, right side up, turn your stack of blocks so that you have the A right next to your sewing machine, and then just butt that right on there. You know, it's interesting to think about the courthouses in town. Such a great quilt it was named after. But did you ever notice how the courthouse is always one of the most attractive buildings in town? Oh, probably one of the tallest buildings. Each town wanted to really show off their particular courthouse. Now, I went down one side, so I'm just going to take the end of it and flip it around so where I ended, I can go ahead and pick up a B strip and add that to the opposite side. Let me just go ahead and start this one and go down. Did you also notice that quite often courthouses are made of stone or mason? Wouldn't it be something if they had a fire, burned up all those valuable records? So they definitely wanted to preserve the building forever. All right, I've gone down both sides. So now, let's see, looking great. We just line these up because at one time now, I can go ahead and cut right in between both of these, straight down through. Let me line up here, straight down, hopefully getting those edges trimmed straight and even. Have one bit right here in this end that all I need to do, just trim off straight. Stack these up. This is getting larger and larger as we go along. Okay, now take it, set it, and lift it over. And now as we go on, all we need to do is keep on adding C on this side, D on this side, and you'll know that the block is done whenever you look at your paste up sheet and you can see that there's 3 pieces going out from each one of these. So I have to just keep on going around this block and I'll be done in minutes. We're back in session and my blocks are done. Ooh, I'm happy about that. And are they ever straight? Take a look at those stairs. My gosh, they look like they're made in stone. They're so straight. Well, I'm anxious to lay these out and sew them together. But first I want to show you how to do the mirror image so we can get even more layouts. Now it goes back to the step whenever you're taking your center, you sew an A on one side and you sew a B on the other. Well, that's the same on both blocks, but now you sort them out into 2 separate piles. You're going to put 8 in one stack, and this time you have B at the top, and the second pile of 8 you have A at the top. So they're reversed. That's going to get them into that mirror image. Now I need to have a strip of C right side up. Ooh, let's see if I can do this. Get that going under your serge or under your sewing machine. Pull your stack close, and now position it with A at the top, and then it's just that good old assembly line. This is so much fun for me, so relaxing. You just keep putting it on there. It's right every time. That's what I like the best about it. It's always right. Now, go ahead and lay them flat. Lay them on your grid. Same thing as before, and cut them right down through. Let's see if we're going to get that mirror image. Why don't I just go ahead and show you on this one piece, because just take it, turn it over, set it with that C on the top, and just lift that up and over. Now we'll find out how lucky we are if we do have those 2 mirror images. Okay, now that's the one piece. Let's open this one up and see. Yes, look at that. See? Exactly the opposite right there. That gray is in the center. That's my one stack. Take a look, because here's the second stack. And whenever you put it together, then these pieces touch right in the middle. They're mirror images of each other. And this gives you even more versatility in your layouts. Let me just move everything aside and we'll have some fun with our blocks. I have 12 blocks in my lantern layout already, and it is looking great. I want to show you how to lay out the last row because it's easy to do. All you do is place the piece right beside it, as in the last row. Line it up like this. Now this piece right here will be a medium piece next to that one. Light right beside this one, and then turn it so that it's medium. Oh, it's so easy. Now when you look at the finished quilt, you see large lanterns in all of the dark fabrics, and you see smaller lanterns in the light fabrics. Now if you like the lanterns layout, you'll really enjoy this 8-block wall hanging. Oh, it's great, just 2 blocks across, 4 down, 5 different fabrics, and it's perfect for a narrow wall. Now I can take these same 16 blocks and just go ahead and turn them so I create that windmill effect. You work right in the center point of 4 of them, and you turn the darks so that you get that windmill. Oh, that looks good. I love that one. That's dynamite. Well, let me just turn these so you see all 16 blocks in the windmill pattern. Oh, that is a dynamite design. I love it. Now, if you like the windmill, you might really enjoy this finished quilt that Judy made. She took bright purples and greens, sewed it all together for a great design, and added that dark border frame around it. Let's take these blocks, mix them up, and we've got chain link. Oh, what a layout. We have rows of A's and B's going right down through the block. Now in the quilt, it looks entirely different. Oh, you see big circles of that light pink, making that chain link going right down the quilt. Beautiful with a turquoise center, turquoise framing border, and that large floral print on the outside edge. Well, let me take these blocks, rearrange them with the mirror image, and I've got the mountains and valleys. Oh, we've got pairs of colors beside each other, the highs and lows of the mountains. Now, Judy did a beautiful mountains and valleys quilt, and the light in it looks almost like the sky or the background around those pink mountains and valleys. It's wonderful. Let me change my blocks one more time. And I have a lantern design right in the center with a barn raising surrounding it. Oh, those lights just frame that center. Well, I love this large quilt, oh, with that lantern in the middle, and barn raising in blue around the outside edge. Perfect in fall colors with the rusts and the greens. Now I'm going to just turn my blocks so I have the lantern layout. Oh, I can't wait to sew it together, but I have some other things to show you first. Do you have a stash of ties left over from your favorite professional in his days in the courthouse? Well, jazz them up. They'll stand any trial. These are so cute. Just go ahead and take some lace and some beads and bangles and just sew them right on. It's really easy to do. All you need to do is turn your tie to the wrong side and then just unsew that seam right down through the middle. I already started to take this one out, but if you use your rotary cutter and just drop the blade against those stitches, keep your fingers out of the way, it'll be safe for you. Then take a piece of lace, fairly wide lace, about 3 inches wide, and place it at an angle on the right side. Tuck those edges under so you can see it like this, and then on the back side, tuck it under and sew that seam back again. Then embellishments can be whatever you have around. You might want to put a ribbon rose like this on it. I think that beads in a row look really nice on a dressy tie like this. Just decorate it in any way you want to. Now, if you have even more ties left over and some wool vests, this is a great touch. Go ahead and cut the top off of your tie right here. Place it on top of your vest and then just top stitch right through those two. You can see in the back side that stitching is coming through, so it's just an easy top stitching. How about some yo-yos to really dress it up? Oh, they're really great to decorate with right now. Yo-yos on the pocket. It really adds a cute touch. Boy, I like to put my hand in there. And you know that pair of gloves, you've got that one missing glove you can never find. Go ahead and just put that on top, tuck it into your pocket, and top stitch around the pieces, the fingers of that. Oh, you'll have some a great outfit that'll just stand up in any court. So get your jazzy outfit done, make your courthouse blocks, and the next time we're together, we'll sew our quilts.